A wise man once said that the best way to know a man is to observe him and keep records of what he does. Well, it's on this note that I welcome you to The Desk, our own gist parlor, a place where we help you make sense with daily conversation and give you informed decisions in this regard. Well, today we will be taking the conversation firstly from the Nigerian economy, where the Nigerian economy is a bit challenging with a slowing growth rate, high inflation, and it is being dressed with a lot of insecurities. Well, in terms of growth, looking at from 2023, the Nigerian economic growth rate slowed to 2.9% from the 3.3% in the year 2022, which is the previous year. In the first quarter of 2024, the Nigerian's GDP grew by 2.98%. The IMF projects that the Nigerian economy will continue to grow at that same rate even in the year 2025, that is about 3% or more. In terms of inflation, from 2023, Nigerian's inflation rate rose to 24.5% from the 18.8% in the year 2022. In the year 2024, Nigerian's inflation rate is expected to rise to 31.6%. In terms of security, Nigerians faces a lot of insecurity, including banditry, kidnapping, and insurgencies. But the government has also pledged to improve security across the country. Let's look at the policies of the government. The government has launched reforms to stabilize the budget and boost the economy. These reforms include eliminating high petrol subsidies and allowing the exchange rate of the naira to float. But the challenge is that the Nigerian economic growth is limited by insecurity, lower than expected oil production, and scarcity of foreign exchange. Of course, the government has limited fiscal space for public investment. Now, what this means in the local parlance is that Nigerians is being confronted with a very harsh economy right now. So a lot of people out there are complaining about the harshness of the economy. But doing justice with me, even on this table this evening, is Dr. Halima Usman, who is a senior special aide to the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And we'll be talking this evening on the economy of the country. But first, let me welcome you, Dr. Halima, to the desk.
Right, thank you very much.
All right, you've listened to the analysis. What do you make of the Nigerian diversification policy, which has become like a normal rhetoric right now? Every government in, government out talks about diversification. But right now, Nigerians are complaining. We've not seen the previous diversification policy worked, and right now we're seeing a lot of promises of the government. But generally, to the layman on the street, how will you explain economic diversification to them?
All right, thank you very much for the Professor. What a wonderful question. When we talk about economic diversification, it's an economic concept which is looking at shifting from a particular source of income to a nation to other multiple sources of income. That's the layman for a simple understanding. Or investment for a layman can say a shiftment from investment of a particular sector or an area to other areas. For example, if you look at our economy, that's the Nigerian economy, is deemed as a mono-economic. That's the perception of who we are. We are mono-economic by nation. While we're looking at that aspect, because we depend on petroleum for ages, yeah. And if you look at it, it account for about 80 to 85% of the Nigeria government revenue is coming from that sector, and also 85 to 90% of this particular sector map the foreign exchange earning of the country. So that's the aspect. So when we talk about diversification, we are looking at, okay, yes, there's a need for Nigerian economy to now look at other sectors to generate its income. So in simplicity, it's looking at shifting from a particular source of income of a country to other sectors.
All right, so thank you, Dr. Halima. Dr. Halima, let's look at the blueprint so far given by previous government even right now, this particular President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, in terms of diversification, do you think at this point that Nigerians should be able to go back home and sleep and expect that the government blueprints for diversification right now will work for the Nigerian people?
Okay, let me address this issue, because there are challenges why there's that fear of economic diversification of a country. For example, if you look at the Nigerian economy, what is the major challenges towards economic diversification? The major challenges there is that fear. And looking at, we are more of dependent already on foreign innovations. We are already used to it. We are just looking at what is being imported from other countries, the technology, the innovations. So we have not prepared ourselves so that we can see how we can meet up, how we can develop ourselves, how we can shift from where are we to the level that we're supposed to be. Remember, African look at the Nigerian economy as the mother, all right? We are the giant of Africa. So we need to integrate so that we will be able to meet up with the current upgrades and also the forecasting that is being estimated of our country, so that we'll be able to meet up its prestigious and also meet up to the ranking that we're supposed to reach.
So invariably, what you're saying is that diversification policy in Nigeria, if I understand you correctly, I stand to be corrected, the Nigerian diversification policy has been on the surface. It has not been driven down home to the average Nigerian. Is this what you mean?
Yeah, I'm trying to notify us on why the diversification is needed, why it's important, and why is it that we, the Nigerians specifically, we look at it that, okay, is it the right thing? Is it the right thing being done? All right. So if you look at the administration, this present administration of Ahmed Bola, he has put in place some strategies that will help us to move from where we are to a higher point, higher rank. All right. So in support of the legislation, there are lots of, in fact, we have different laws that are being put in place by this 10th Assembly, headed by the Senate President, His Excellency, Senator Godswill Akpabio. I can say, yes, I can see we are driving to where we're supposed to go. Because once the advantage of diversification is fully understood, then we've got to understand that, yes, we need to diversify our economy so that we can restore back that prestiges that we had before we consider petroleum as our major source of income. For example, now our major source of income was agriculture, right? And we were doing well. And that is what took us to a particular level. Yeah. So we have to, at this point, look at, okay, what we need to design some policies. The government has to put the strategies to ensure that we moved to a greater level via diversification of our economy. And I will let you to know what are the advantages of diversifying of an economy.
No, you can go ahead. Okay. Right away. Let's delve into it.
Okay, that's fine. One of the importance of diversifying an economy is that it helps to increase the revenue of a nation. Yeah? When you have a single source of income, for example, the petroleum happens to be our major source of income. But if you look at the trends now, the global trends, and also the global warming, all right, so most of the countries that we are looking onto are shifting to a spare of sage, so that they will ensure that rectify. So with our by diversification of our economy, we will be able to increase the revenue, all right, which will affect and also positively our gross domestic product, and also it will reduce that dependency on a single source. And also another point to look at is that it will help to create competitive advantage. Yeah, which we need to do that for a country to upgrade economically. It has to move, okay? It has to have a comparative high advantage to other countries. And also another point is that it will lead to job creation, Because when you diversify your economy, you're indirectly or directly trying to boost and encourage to rise other sectors of the economy to ensure that you have developed other sectors that was abandoned. You now found that you are creating a job avenue and would help to tackle the issue of poverty in society.
Just to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Dr. Alima,
Yeah.
we've had diversification lectures. We've heard people talk about the advantages of diversifying an economy. The question is, are we ready to have that conversation of diversification, or are we just paying a lip service to diversification?
We are ready. In fact, we have already, the journey have already started. Yeah, with the present policies put in place, and the blueprint is clearly to notify, to indicate where we are moving towards. All right, so we are set, because if you look at this administration of Ahmed Tinubu, you understand that it's working towards human capital, investing into human capital, and that is one of the ways you can achieve diversification. Yep. So if you look at it, some of the policies put in place is looking towards that empowering and also investing a lot in the different segment of human capital, so that we'll be able to reach to that stage whereby in every sector we are capable of that. Also, if you look at it, another factor that gears diversification of our economy is that encouraging entrepreneurship. And this administration have put a lot of policies to ensure that entrepreneurship is being encouraged. All right. If you can look at, if you check the 2023 budget, you understand that 2024 budget. Sorry, you understand that a lot of empowerment project was put forward so that they will encourage entrepreneurship and also dwell into. Similarly, if you look at infrastructure. All right, this government, I think this phase of government from the different sittings is looking on to improving infrastructure, so that those particular sectors that has to do with the manufacturing can be able to do well. Yeah, so infrastructure policies are put in place, and you can see that was the forefront of what this administration is looking on to.
Well, Dr. Alima.
Yeah, go ahead.
Don't you think at this point that the problem we have right now as a people, as a nation, is the rhetoric of diversification? Before we spoke about diversification, you've mentioned rightly that Nigerian were used to agricultural system. Of course, we have the groundnut pyramid and other rice pyramid and what have you, boosting agriculture in Benue State, in Taraba, in Jigawa and other part of the north. We saw a lot of productivity. Perhaps it is the word diversification blueprint and diversification as a concept that we have decided to adopt that has become our major problem. Or do you share in this line of thought of mine? Okay,
very good point. Yeah, because agriculture was our mainstream of income. And Nigeria as a nation, we are blessed. I used to say that we are rich if we can harness. We have been bestowed by the nature, which if we can adequately harness these resources that is given to us by nature, we will go a long way. Now, one of the blueprint of diversification, as you rightly mentioned, was the area of agriculture. Agriculture is a sector that if it is really worked on, that is toward expansion of it, and also integrated, that is mechanically, that is we're looking at mechanized farming, or also a lot can be derived from it. And if you can see, I think this is what is happening now. I can see a lot of, now people will begin to now recognizes the importance and also the prestige of agriculture. And with that, you now see that we have a lot of things to go. Of recent, we are looking at these export zones. By identifying those particular areas of what we have, our resources that is being needed outside the country, that the government can now pay attention onto it, and also to ensure that the sector is doing well, the production is everything that is needed to support the minimum given to it, it will be given to it, so that we can adequately transform this domestic market of such particular areas of products to an international market.
So you don't think that it's the name that is causing the problem for us as a country? Because before we use the word diversification blueprint, we've seen us produce things without even, but I think it has caged us in a way to one particular point where Nigerians now begin to lose their strength, lose their concentration, and want to now say, hey, let's begin to diversify. Because prior to this time, you can say, okay, I'm an agriculturist, and you focus there, and you produce it, while the guy on other industries also produce it. But as soon as the word, let us diversify, let us go leave oil, let's go to something. Now we now begin to know that there is a strength in this area, and this term has become like a problem for us. So at this point in time, just before I let you go, of course, we will say that diversification policy has come to stay in Nigeria. But are we driving it enough to be able to explain this concept to children in public schools and also in private schools, to elementary grassroots, to be able to understand this concept and be able to run with it, so that even teenagers can begin to start producing? Are we doing enough in terms of sensitization of our diversification policies, even of this particular government?
Okay, yeah, I'll answer your question in respect to that. I want you to understand agriculture is just one out of numerous, all right, when it comes to diversification. We look at area of technology, yeah? If you look at area of technology, it's also one of the blueprints, yeah, an item of diversification, because we need to ensure that we have integrated our technological know-how and also innovations. We are bestowed, you understand? So we have we have that capacity. We have that because if we bring an average Nigerian, give them the opportunity, I'm telling you, you are going to see the technical know-how in us. So we have that. All we need is to integrate so that we'll be able to achieve that. Go to the creative industry. This is another industry. If you look at India is also one of the growing digitally economy. You now see that with one of the aspects that they utilized, and they were able to boost up their economy, and they are doing well. Go to the manufacturing sector. Manufacturing sector is another segment that our economy can diversify, and we'll be able to do a lot. Just imagine that now we have to import matches. As when you look at some of these things, you know that it's a slap on the face, because we have the resources, we have the potential to do these things, and these things are needed outside. So if we can now encourage and integrate our other sectors, we'll be able to compete with other worlds that are moving towards a very high rank in terms of integrity. And also, when you look at we have, okay, for example, now in this assembly, all right, this legislation, I'm talking about the Senate and also the reps, they are working tireless to ensure that both the green and the blue economy policies are being geared toward that. A lot of bills have been passing. I remember just a few months ago, I happened to be one of the briefing, so which we spoke about the green economy. And we look at the potential in green economy, that if we can adequately harness it, we'll be able to do a lot. We'll be able to compare with our foreign competitors when it comes to country level. Okay, going back to this particular question you're putting about the policy, what is being put in place and all
the sensitization of the policy to primary
schools. Yes, very important. Yeah. I want you to know, I said one of the advantage of diversification is that it's going to tackle our entrepreneurship, all right? So it will be able to encourage entrepreneurship, and it will boost our economy. Recently, it is mandated mandated at the curriculum under the education sector to ensure that every pupils from primary school, secondary school, tertiary institution must go through entrepreneurship. What was lacking in our curriculum? Now, if you are studying at the primary school, yes, go back. You can ask the children to go through what they are doing. Entrepreneurship is now a core course for them to take. If you are now studying at a degree, BSc, or you are doing your master's or postgraduate or your PhD, one of the requirements is that you go through entrepreneurship as a course. And this is a strategy to ensure that, yes, we revive it. We are moving, and we have left so many things that need to be taken into consideration. Now we have gone back. Our attention is drawn back, as you have rightly said, IMF and the projection, the forecasting. I did one research, and the research is that I take some models. I take a model which is anticipated that this will give an economic growth. But I was like saying, okay, let me see, will it work for my economy? So when I took that particular models, use its factors, so I took an African country, our country, and I also took Canada. So, and I used the same models with the factors. And at the end of my analysis, I discovered that this particular models and concept works for the developed country, like Canada. But when I put it on the Nigerian economy, it didn't work, because we have different futures. So we have to work with what we had at ground in order to ensure that we meet up to what we are targeting. So our blueprints need to look towards our futures, target our futures, so that we will be able to meet the requirement and we will be able to harness adequately. So diversification is a key if we really want to have a positive change in our growth and development. So we have to diversify our economy. I said something. If you look at the country like UK, US, Canada, they have jointly comes together. So, and they are now looking at moving from I was given a topic to talk about the electrification of export processing zones. So, and I was able to advise that yes, we can now apart from the non-renewable that we use for the electrification of this export industry, so that they will be able to compete, we have the renewable. They can use what we are bestowed. We have the sunlight. I was even a typical example that, do you know that the woman in the village that is there, she's struggling under the cottage industry, so that she'll be able to produce as a community or as her household. She needs electricity for sure, but she doesn't rely on government 100% to say, okay, I'm waiting for the government to supply electricity. Can you see, do you know that she can use her pit toilet to generate electricity?
Well,
so we need to diversify.
Dr. Alima, we'll come back to all of this conversation, because there are a lot of things that we need to ask you even on this table. But I've been signaled right now that our time is fast spent, because we have to go into some other conversation. But at this point, I want to say thank you so much for being a part of the show today.
Thank you very much.
And hope when next we need you, you'll be available for us.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right, we'll go for this short break. And when we come back, we'll be talking to Usman Issa, who is the Global Tourist Ambassador. And we'll be talking about tourism as it affects Nigeria, especially medical tourism. Please go nowhere. The desk continues in a moment. Welcome to the desk. The Vice President, Kashim Shettima, has claimed that Nigeria is witnessing a surge in reverse medical tourism, with patients from the United States and other countries coming to the nation's hospitals to seek affordable and quality kidney transplants. Shettima attributed the choice of Nigerian for treatment to affordability and high-quality expertise with the country's medical community. Well, I have right now in the studio to look at the medical tourism development platforms and talk about this in terms of its revenue that it can generate for Nigeria. And joining me in this conversation is Isa Usman, who is the global tourism developer. You're welcome to the desk.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. So first, let's establish what is medical tourism.
So, medical tourism simply means traveling from where one is residing to another location in the quest for quality medical treatments, or traveling from less developed country to well-developed country, or from well-developed country to less developed country for quality medical treatments.
Interesting. Now, we've seen the Nigerian Vice President say that more people are coming to Nigeria. You're already smiling. What do you make of this whole conversation? Because as if the reversal is the case. More Nigerians are traveling out. But right now, it's kudos to Nigerian because more people are traveling to Nigeria for kidney transplants.
Well, it's so funny. Funny in the sense that in anything in life, there is a procedure for it. There's a way that the right things to do the right things. So saying that people are coming from abroad for medical treatments, it may be true. But the issue there is that good numbers of Nigerians don't believe the statement. The reason why I say so is not far-fetched. Good numbers of Nigeria, I'm talking of 70 to 80% of population of Nigeria don't have access to quality medical treatments. So people will hardly believe. Because medical tourism, there's a procedure for medical tourism. If you want to participate, the country wants to participate in medical tourism, first of all, they have to develop what we call intra-band medical tourism. I mean, domestic medical tourism for the citizens first. The citizen has to start enjoying medical tourism before start going out to announce to people that, okay, we are enjoying medical tourism. Then what our citizens are enjoying, let you guys come to our country and enjoy what our citizens are enjoying. And by the way, there's nothing like revising medical tourism. There's nothing like revising medical tourism. Whether you are participating in intra-band, in-band, and out-band. And this afternoon, I'm here to debunk the word revising medical tourism. There's nothing like revising medical tourism. So, and today, our local healthcare service providers and those at the helms of affairs, they should stop using this language. It's not good for us, because when we are using this language, the developed countries that have interest of investing in Nigeria health sector will not come because they see that we are not serious. So the right language is for us to say that, okay, we are now promoting, we are into promoting medical tourism. If they ask, is it in-band or out-band or intra-band? What we are doing is in-band and intra-band. So there's nothing like revising medical tourism. Well, so we should stop using that statement. It's not good for us.
When you said that Nigerians are not enjoying medical facilities, I think a lot of Nigerians would disagree with you on that stand, because we have a lot of improved medical services across the country. But then let's even look at the medical tourism field, as it were. We understand that in medicine, talking about tourism sounds strange to a lot of doctors. How come you have been on the forefront talking about medical tourism? It's absorbed even in the medical space.
Okay. Now, I've defined medical tourism before. And medical tourism, you see, and referral of patients, they are inseparable. You cannot separate them. When you refer patients, the patient move, either within or outside. So that is why we have domestic medical tourism, which is also known as intra-band medical tourism. So why there is this confusion is that many Africans, their understanding about medical tourism is outbound. So the school of thought has narrowed down medical tourism to outbound medical tourism only, while the real concept of medical tourism encompasses intrabound, inbound, and outbound medical tourism. So medical tourism that they don't want to hear, let me even be honest to you, medical tourism that they don't want to hear is the only solution to the challenges we are facing in our health sector.
How correct is that?
Okay. There are two problems facing Nigeria health sector.
All right.
And what problem gave birth to these two problems? What is that problem? The problem is the way we see health sector. We are looking at healthcare sector with one eye instead of looking at healthcare with two eyes. Health sector is supposed to be looking as a profit and not profit-making venture. And that is where we get it wrong. And that is where government is not giving attention that the healthcare deserve. Why is it that government is giving attention to oil and gas and is not giving attention to it? Because in health sector, since they see it as a charitable organization, nothing is really coming from there. What is the two problems that this problem gave birth to? There are two problems. We have problem within the health sector and the problem outside the health sector. Which one is the problem within the health sector? The problem of enabling environment. And who have solution to the problem is government. So government has to provide enabling environment for its citizens, for our local healthcare service providers, so that we can announce them. Then the problem of enabling environment encompasses there's no stable power supply in Nigeria, as you know. There's no good road, there's no water, and most of our policy are unfavorable. So most of the policies are not good for our local healthcare service provider. So government has to make a policy that will favor our local healthcare service provider, and the policy has to favor three parties that involve in healthcare business. Who are those parties? One, healthcare service providers, which are hospital, doctor diagnosis centers, and etc. Then healthcare facilitators, people like us that specialize in business aspect of medical. Then thirdly, the policy must favor healthcare seekers, which are patients.
But you've rightly said. Let me.
I'm not done.
All right, please go
because
ahead.
I'm talking of. I talked about problem outside the health sector.
Please go ahead.
Then the problem within the health sector. The only solution to the problem is medical tourism, by us embracing health tourism. We call health tourism a solution in actions. All countries that do well medically worldwide, they embrace it. And immediately medical tourism come to any health sector of the country to start addressing the problem one after the other. What are the problems? Problem of availability of treatments, affordability of treatment, accessibility of treatment, acceptability of treatment, poor success rate, attitude of medical personnel towards patients, medical negligence, medical malpractice, medication error, and healthcare frauds. So the only solution to this problem is by us embrace medical tourism. That is why we call medical tourism solution in action.
Well, Usmani, is to a very large extent, when you say medical personnel, it's divided into three. The facilitators, which you've said, the facilitator, the patient and the doctor, healthcare facilitator, the medical doctor is known. The patients are known. The healthcare facilitator sounds very strange in Nigeria.
Okay.
Do one need to go to school to become a healthcare facilitator? What's the criteria? Is this a new field that Nigerians need to explore, or it's an adopted phrase that was used, that was coined by you to be able to? So please enlighten us. It's strange in the Nigerian medical space. Even doctors will align their thought with mine that healthcare facilitators, it's strange.
It's not strange because we don't have proper understanding of medical tourism. We don't really know the concept of medical tourism because in this part of the world, we don't know healthcare business. If you go to India, there are schools you can go and learn a medical tourism business. Yeah, if you go to Turkey and other top-ranking medical tourism destinations, it's there in their curriculum as a course that you can study it. So it's not a new thing. It's because in this part of the world, we don't understand medical tourism business. So that is why we're always busy condemning medical tourism, while other countries are busy reaping the benefit of medical tourism.
All right. The vice president have come out to say that Nigeria is doing well in terms of its medical tourism strive, and we have seen a lot of patients from USA and other countries coming into Nigeria for kidney transplant, which you've disagreed on already.
I did not disagree. I said it may be true and it may be no.
Okay, so let me leave it at that probability statement of yours.
Yes.
But then again, looking at the statement, you said you are a health facilitator,
Specialist or consultant.
a consultant. Looking at the ratio of Nigerians traveling abroad and Nigerians getting treatments even here in Nigeria, what will you say generates the highest revenue for Nigeria in terms of medical health in general?
Okay. To be realistic, people travel from abroad to Nigeria for medical treatment. If you look at the definition of medical tourism I give to you, that is not all about traveling from less developed country to well-developed country.
It can be the reverse.
It can be from developed country to less developed countries.
Okay.
Now, for example, you see U.S. citizens travel to Malaysia, for example, for medical treatments in good number. In terms of development, you cannot compare U.S. and Malaysia. So to be honest with you, there are many of our local healthcare service providers doing greatly well. We have visited many facilities in Nigeria that are very good. But the challenge they are having is that they don't have the platform to be known. The environment is not there, you understand, for them to be known. And that is why we are even coming up with initiative that will make our local healthcare service provider to move from domestic excellence to global recognition.
Are you saying the Ministry of Health is not doing that already?
See, you cannot give what you don't have. In law, they say you cannot give what you don't have. Our honorable minister is doing wonderfully well in his own way as a clinician or as a medical personnel. But he's supposed to involve people that specialized in business aspect of medical. He cannot do all. If you go abroad, I've been to India several times, I've been to Turkey, Egypt, Egypt, Jordan, Algeria, and all these countries. And we look at the way the healthcare is running. There is a lacuna between the way healthcare is running abroad and the way it's running in Nigeria. Now, let me clear you. Whenever they have any event that has to do with healthcare business, last time they hold one event in Villa, which the theme of the program is Unveiling Nigeria Health Sector Renewal Investment Initiative. All the people that came, even from abroad, you can't find any medical tourism specialist among them. I mean, people that specialize in aspect of medical. They are all, I can say almost all are clinicians. I follow the program from A to Z. They are clinicians. They are not trained for business.
That aligns my thoughts. This is strange.
Yeah, they are not trained for healthcare business.
That means this your field that you said is strange
in Nigeria.
In Nigeria,
but it's
system.
See, medical tourism has been there for years. You understand? Yeah. Medical tourism has been there for years. But in Nigeria, there is one mentality or one habit we form, which is very bad. What is that habit? Anything we hate it with passion, and we don't look the other side of it. And that is seriously affecting me and some of my colleagues that are coming from abroad to Nigeria because of the negative impression, the bad impressions we have about medical tourism. Whenever you are meeting any of our local healthcare service providers and you are talking about medical tourism, they don't always like to give listening ear. Because what they think is that you are coming to discuss with them on how to take patients abroad. And they don't know that medical tourism is all encompassing. That is why I'm here at this time to debunk the understanding of Nigerians or Africans about medical tourism. Medical tourism is a good thing. And in fact, we need to embrace it with two hands because medical tourism is the solution or is an antidote to the problem we are facing in Nigeria health sector. Not only Nigeria, Africa, and the world at large.
If you are rightly saying, that medical tourism is the solution, panacea, to the Nigerian problem, health sector problem,
yes,
like you've said, then I'm tempted to ask, do you have like an association or a union of medical tourists, even in Nigeria?
No, we don't have at the moment, and we are trying to form the association. No, one person cannot stand and form an association. So now we are looking for the like minds to come together so that we can form an association of health tourism.
That's quite interesting.
Because medical tourism, we are trying to introduce in Nigeria. Do you know that it has enormous benefit for the country? It has like 8 benefits for the country. And the benefits of it are, 1, it will go to reduce the rate of outbound medical tourism and mean people traveling abroad for medical treatments. 2, it will go to reduce the issue of brain drain syndrome. Our medical personnel relocating abroad in good numbers. Because where they are traveling to practice, like UK, US, Saudi Arabia, and another medical tourism destination, is because they embrace medical tourism. So another thing again, to create jobs opportunities, investment opportunity, it will yield us foreign revenue and make us to even save money that people are taking abroad to spend on their health. And lastly, it will increase our GDP ratio.
Well, what you just said, by your definition, that medical tourism has to do with people traveling from one destination to another. Now, without adequate regulation, don't you think that this sector can be hijacked by quacks and hijacked by people that don't even have an understanding of what medicine is all about, and as such, the process will be abused?
Yeah, that is why we talk about policy. So if policy is big and this is inclusive, and there will be anybody that misbehave or if there is anybody that goes out of the law or the rule, you understand, it can be dealt with.
Don't you think that this is the reason why the Nigerian medical practitioners will not want to be identified with the medical tourism purview, because they see it as a system that doesn't, to a large extent, and align with the medical practices, medical field visions?
You see, what you don't know, senior you. If it's A, B, C, D, and you don't know it, it's senior you. So I know they have fear of extortion. You understand?
Yeah.
But whether we like it or not, medical tourism, they don't want to hear about it. You understand? It's the only way out of the solution. Is the only solution to the problem we are having. And everything in life that have positive side always also have negative side. But you consider it. If the negative side, you understand, is lesser than the positive side, you need to embrace it. You understand? Because life itself is full of risk, and there's no reward without risk, and reward go to those who take risk. So it's not even risk, because most of the countries do well. Okay, name one country worldwide that is doing well medically, that is not participating in promotion of medical tourism. Is it US? Is it India that is the biggest beneficiary of Nigeria or Africa market? Is it Turkey? Is it United Arab Emirates? Is it Egypt? Is it Jordan? Is it Thailand? Is it Singapore? Is it Mexico? Is it Cuba? These are top-ranking medical tourism destinations.
All right, just before I let you go, exposing Nigerian to medical tourism will further ridicule the Nigerian medical sector to a very large extent, in the sense that at this point, like you've said, people will be moved, facilities will be moved outside the countries. Of course, people will be introduced back to Nigeria. People will be moved to Nigeria also. So it's a two-way traffic. Yes. But I'm asking, in terms of going out for medical tourism, people say as a profession, as a facilitator, health facilitator, which you are, if we introduce the medical tourism on a large scale, don't you think at this point it will further dilapitate the Nigerian healthcare sector?
It's not true. It's false. We always talk of healthcare investment, healthcare financing. The only thing that will bring these investors we are talking about is by us embracing medical tourism.
More Nigerians will be traveling out if you look at it, if it's a two-way traffic that you're talking about.
No. What I'm trying to say is that we will focus more on intra-band, which is domestic medical tourism, and in-band, people coming in. But whether we like it or not, people will still travel abroad for medical treatment. The reason why I say so is not hard to know. There are some cases, there are some procedure that we cannot handle in Nigeria. One of it is liver transplant. There's no hospital in Nigeria that can do liver transplant, heart transplant, pancreatic surgery, robotic surgery, serious neuro and spine related cases, and etc. So if we have case now, for example, now we have a case of a woman having breast cancer and you need to undergo oncoplastic surgery, for example, now in the country, we don't have a center that can do oncoplastic surgery. Are we going to leave the patient to die? For example, we have a case of liver, and there's no hospital in Nigeria that can do the transplant. Are we going to leave the patient to die? So we're saying that, okay, because of our, we bias in this country, and it's not fair. It's not fair because anything we cannot do, you understand, we have to take the patient, you understand, to where there is capable hand. You understand? So whether we like it or not, and do you know that it's no longer in news that Nigeria loses no less than $2 billion to outbound medical tourism annually, and the Africa loses over $2 billion to outbound medical tourism annually. So means Nigeria alone constitutes 70 to 80% of the expenditure. And the only thing that can help us to save this cost is by us to embrace medical tourism, so that we can start retaining this money going out in Nigeria, and people can start coming from other countries to Nigeria for Medicare.
Mr. Usman,
Yes, sir.
lastly, the advantage, as a way of x-raying the medical tourism, the advantage, does it outweigh the disadvantage?
The advantage of medical tourism is 90%.
Invariably, doesn't have any disadvantage.
It has disadvantage.
Can we hear the disadvantage a few?
Okay. The disadvantage of medical tourism is extortion, like as we said.
Yeah.
Like some of our patients going abroad, at times they browse online to get some fake hospitals or some facilitators. They can connive with some foreign hospitals and do patients. And two, some cases has already gone out of hand, you understand? Because most of the cases we take abroad mostly are cases that almost got out of hand. For example, you see a patient, you understand that the family members has already lose hope that this patient will, at times in airport, as they even land in the airport, some patients will give up. You understand? Because of the stress involved in traveling abroad. So the disadvantage of it are few. But what I'm trying to tell you, the advantage of it is like 90%. Yes.
Well, it's a very interesting conversation, and we must keep having this conversation, Mr. Usman, even on the desk, so that we'll get to also cross more T's and dot more I's. A lot of questions that are begging for answers, but by time, I'm being signaled right now that it's time to go. But then I want to say thank you so much for being a part of the show today.
Thank you, my brother. You're welcome.
Well, we'll still keep that conversation going because we have to bring you back here to talk more on medical tourism. Well, at this point in time, I want to say thank you so much, my viewers, for being a part of the show. Do remember that you can join the conversation on our various social media platform. Of course, you can also join on the repeat of the program even here on Global Television. My name is Godwin Sunday, and from all of us here on the desk, I want to say, do remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. From all of us here, it's bye for now.